conversational speed, the amount of time that you have in the 1AC. You should also have one that you could probably read a little bit quicker if you had a judge that's willing to listen to a little more speed. It is strategic for you to have multiple versions of your 1AC that you can tailor to that specific judge. And I mean, obviously, if you don't know things about that judge, you can go out. I mean, any of us, you'll probably see all three of us, or any of your other lab leaders, Justin, when he gets here, at local tournaments. And feel free to come up and ask me what you feel, what I know about them. And I'll be honest with you, I don't know anything about them, so it's like, I don't know. So if you don't know, you're probably best just going with what you feel best and most comfortable with. But judge adaptation in the 1AC is very, very important. Do you have anything else to add to?
I was just thinking about the, real quick, to fishtail into some rebuttal strategy when we talk about the Cuba says no stuff. Like, the safest thing you can do in NFA-LD because of the time constraints is start debates early, which means it probably is helpful if you know the other team is going to jump on that and be like, yeah, Cuba's going to say no to that. It doesn't gain you anything to take time out of your 1AR then to read those new advantages. So it's kind of a gamble then. Like, if you think they're going to say Cuba says no as an original argument and that they're not going to know that you're prepared for that debate, then it might behoove you to start with the 1AR to move some of that 1NC because they're going to base their strategy on you not being prepared for Cuba says no. But if you're facing someone who you think is going to read that stuff and know what you're going to do, then you should start the debate in the 1AC just to save you time in the 1AR.
As far as other forms of affirmative strategic things, it's good to include preempts in your 1AC. Like, if there's going to be predictable arguments, and I mean, you may not really figure these out until you've gone to a couple of tournaments, but if there are arguments that are constantly being ran against you, it may be good to kind of hedge against some of those debates in the 1AC. And so that may mean like taking out one piece of solvency evidence or not reading another impact to hegemony or something like that. But that preempt could save you time, and that's part of, I guess, a rebuttal strategy, is front-loading your 1AC with as much as you possibly can, because the rest of the debate, all you have to do is extend it, cross-apply it, or read new arguments, I guess. So I guess making sure that your 1AC is as powerful as you can. I mean, every card in your 1AC should have a purpose. If you're not extending it or reading it or talking about it later on in the debate, you should probably figure out a way to change it and a way to add something that's a little bit more, I guess, useful to you.
I mean, it's not just preempts. Like, I think there are a lot of things that can go on a 1AC that are of help. If you know you're hitting someone who runs a lot of Ks, you probably want to have a framework observation in the 1AC. If you're hitting someone who you know runs a lot of wanky decision calculus stuff, you probably want to put a util good contention in your 1AC. It's probably a good idea to be a little bit flexible in that, to have a couple of cards that you know are likely to help you in rebuttals in most situations. But for these couple of situations, be able to take those cards out and stick, you know, a couple of fiat good arguments at the bottom, or a couple of util good arguments at the bottom, or like Brooks was telling you, like a couple of China or Mexico or Russia answers at the bottom, whatever.
And you can also tailor those to the specific person. Like, if I'm debating against Brandon, and I know that Brandon is running this one politics scenario. He's been running it rounds 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, or not, okay, I guess you can't do that. 1, 3, whatever. You know, all of his negative rounds. He's been running this same politics scenario. Everybody from his team's running it, and I would maybe include, instead of some preempts to other things that I normally read, I would read some maybe uniqueness arguments about that politics scenario. So you can also tailor those preempts to the specific people you're debating against, which is also can be strategic in some points.
Probably the best experience I had with a lawyer when I debated was on the energy topic. We had, you know, an inherency card and a harms card, which we consistently read. The rest of the case, we had like 4 or 5 modules, and depending on the situation, we grab those modules out and stick them on the end of it. And being able to have that kind of affirmative flexibility is extraordinarily helpful. That's why, I mean, and then if you decide you want to break a new advantage, but if you just want to break something new, but you don't want to write an entire different case or throw away all your blocks, like breaking a new advantage can be just as powerful because forces your opponent to respond to that on the fly, and it also lets you use your blocks in preparation that you've got going on before you get into the round.
Does everybody know what he's talking about when he means modular parts of your apps? For example, the give Cuba or give Guantanamo Bay back to Cuba case. There's multiple arguments that we could talk about why this would be beneficial. Module 1 could be it's unethical. Guantanamo Bay is unethical or something like that, and have reasons why all the torture and everything going on there needs to be stopped. Modular 2 could be it's unethical to have colonies, that kind of thing, on Cuba. So those are two completely different arguments. They're going to have different impacts, and so Module 1 is obviously the unethical argument about Gitmo and torture. 2 is it's unethical to have parts of Cuba's land. 3 could be Cuban economy. We can make arguments like I talked about yesterday, how the Guantanamo Bay could be used as a huge economic port where they could start shipping stuff back and forth, and that could increase the Cuban economy. B, that port could, maybe like a subset of that would be it increases the U.S. economy because we're probably their most likely trading partner. Another module could be that maybe, I don't know, somebody said something about the environment the other day. Maybe for some reason if the base was really bad for the environment or the local seawater, like things like that. I guess you don't really solve that if you're going to turn it into a shipping dock, but maybe you have an environment argument. So, and then maybe your 5th module would be a soft power argument. That if the U.S. got rid of Gitmo, we would gain some credibility in the international arena and be able to do something with that. So you've got 5 different arguments that you could talk about, all reading the same plan text. And so if I've got Judge A, who is a military general or something back here, and I'm debating at USAPA, I probably wouldn't want to read the ethics, torture, bad arguments. I'd probably read the soft power arguments, and I'd be like, listen, this is key to increasing our credibility. Soft power is key to hedge, which is key to check 20 scenarios for nuclear war. So that would be one argument, and one way that you could use those modulars to tailor your app to a specific judge. So that kind of works hand in hand with that judge adaptation thing I was talking about earlier.
I think there's no reason why your module is limited to just different advantage scenarios. Like, on opposite ends of the spectrum, you might have like just a solvency contention as a module. If you're in front of a more traditional judge who wants to hear the arguments framed that way. On the other end of the spectrum, you might have a critical underview of some sort, which if you're in front of a judge who likes those kinds of things, and say you're hitting an opponent who has no idea what to do with those, or is less able to debate you on those issues, then plugging like you can use that instead of different versions of the app per se to gain yourself a competitive advantage in that way.